Well, this year there's already been so much flooding. We're halfway through the year, and there've been 6 or 8 major events. Connecticut, Vermont, Kentucky, California had some flooding earlier this year, and we're just halfway through the year. We're not even into the height of hurricane season. What kills me every time I see we have one of these events, the news that follows is always the same, especially after Hurricane Ian last year. If we needed another reminder, the number of people who don't have flood insurance, and the news interviews are, we were caught off guard, we just didn't know, and I ask myself, we work so hard in the flood industry to try and get the message out that flood insurance is needed and that flood risk is higher than FEMA flood maps may indicate, and even if you're in a low hazard area you need flood insurance. So it's really hard for me to understand why people are caught off guard. Why isn't the message that we've been delivering getting through? So that's kind of why I'm here. At the end of last year, I decided to shift away from claims and focus on, kind of trying to be part of the solution. So I have been doing some research for about 6 months. I've been reading on a lot of really great topics, and there's so much great information out there about why people choose not to buy flood insurance. There's great stuff about the psychology behind flood insurance purchasing, and I'm going to do a whole episode just on that. I thought it was fantastic reading, and a lot of places are giving, we've all read it. There are a lot of analyses about how much flood insurance is needed versus how much people buy. Wharton does great stuff. Insurance Information Institute does great stuff. First Street just came out with a great report this year. And I also read some really interesting stuff on Flood Flash website. If you don't know who they are, Flood Flash is a parametric insurance company. They're UK based, and they started last year, I think, selling parametric insurance. And I'm a big fan, so I do want to try and do a separate episode, or at least a part of an episode on parametric. And if I'm lucky, maybe I can get somebody from Flood Flash to come in and talk to us a little bit. I'm also in school, as if I don't have enough to do. I'm finishing my undergrad at the University of South Alabama, and next week I'm taking the LSAT to apply for law school for next year. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Louisiana to visit LSU, Tulane, and Loyola campuses, toured their law schools, and because I want to study and practice in Louisiana, obviously in insurance defense. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing that up is this summer I was in summer semester, and I had to do a class on writing research papers, and of course I picked a flood topic, and I researched these very things. What are all the reasons why people are not buying flood insurance, and some of the studies behind them, and some of my research was on my own, and then some was with writing this paper, and I did fine. I made an A. I also decided that this was worthy information for us to focus on, and so my first episode after this intro is going to be about some of those reasons, and I'm condensing that into actually an article that we're going to publish, and then I split it into a few little series of articles so that we only focus on 2 or 3 of those items at a time, so we can really dig into where that resistance comes from, why consumers just don't get it. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions about what real flood risk is, and it's just, to me, it's really interesting. But I want to invite people not only to just watch, but come on board and talk with me. I think that these concepts really require conversation, and not only what are they and why do they happen, but how do we fix the messaging so that people get it, and where do we start with that? So I definitely am going to be calling some of my friends and associates in the flood industry to come on board and dial in and join the conversation so we can do an interview or just chat about what's going on. I'm also going to invite people who would like to come on and talk about their own business. What are they doing in the flood industry? I don't mind putting your logo up and giving you a little publicity to my very small following so far. I'm independent and I'm here to support the whole flood industry. I'm not an agent. I don't sell insurance. I am doing training classes, and we'll talk about that a little later. Those are still in publication. I'll cover that when we come up on another episode. But to talk about agents, I wanted to say I think that's an important place for us to start, kind of shifting the mindset, because the agents get that really valuable point of sale moment with customers right when they buy a house. That's the time when they're making decisions. And homeowners insurance is a given, but flood insurance is not. And I think that the way to get maybe, or hopefully one way to get that, make a shift there, is to get agents more educated on flood insurance in general. I know that FEMA puts out some information. They do an agent training class for CE credits. I took it 2 months ago just to kind of see what content they were giving out. And it's a good class, but I think you can go deeper. And I think that if you had a better understanding of what the policy says and how it works and what it can do and really what it can't do also, knowing that information equips agents with more terminology and more talking points. Conversation beyond the fact that the mortgage company does or does not require flood insurance. I got my first opportunity to really talk with agents since I've started the business. Assurant was kind enough to invite me to talk to their agents on an agent webinar series that they're doing, and I took it was a 1 hour thing, and I got to pick the topic, and I decided to talk about the dispute resolution angle. So a little bit about where agents can be of help in avoiding disputes in the first place, really because they've done a good job of underwriting and they've notified their policyholders ahead of time when there are going to be coverage limitations, basements, elevated buildings, and a host of other things. And then also, once the claim happens, how can they facilitate the claims process and kind of help us cut off or solve any disputes as they come up. So I was really excited to be able to do that, and I hope that there are more opportunities for me to talk to agents. So if you have any agents that share this with your networks and get them involved in our conversation too. There's also another element there, which is realtors, real estate agents who also have that same access to customers at that point of sale. They may not be interested to follow or learn, but I'm going to try anyway. Sort of the beginning of where we are. We're going to talk a little bit about some of those things, and then I have more episodes planned. If you want to follow me, that'd be great. If you can share this, if you want to shoot me a message and tell me what you think we should be talking about, and if you'd like to come on board, I'd love to talk to carriers, agents, adjusters, attorneys. I do flood insurance litigation. I'm an expert witness in flood, so I do have some attorney friends out there. And even a PA, if there's a public adjuster who would like to debate flood insurance with me on a camera, go ahead and come on board and we'll do it. So anyway, I really appreciate you being here, and I look forward to putting out some more episodes for you in the near future. And that's it for today. Flood for Thought. Thanks.